have finished story house 1 in the unit 5, the theme of social issues. Okay, let us have a few questions in the story house 1 and enter into the story house 2. Okay, right, children. These were the questions actually. I asked you to get ready with the answers. Greetings to you, sir. How are things with you? Bayachi greeted Bujaba. Why did Bujaba become furious? Second one, why was Bayachi tempted to knock down Bujaba with his box? The other one, what do you think? Bujaba insisted on knocking the knowing the exact amount received by Bayachi and his retirement. Because he questioned again and again. So what was Bayachi's dream? So first question, why did Bujaba become furious?
Because Bayachi's greetings were very plain and
Why
simple.
said only greetings to Bujaba?
Good response. Because he got, as Bayachi did not greet him, okay, according to the age-old custom, he simply greeted him, right?
Yes.
So that he got angry. Note. And why was Bayachi tempted to knock down Bujaba with his box?
Bayaji embraced Buddhism.
As he embraced Buddhism. Question, Nana. Bayachi tempted, Bayachi thought to, knock down Bujaba. He want to beat Bujaba, to understand so simple language, with his box. Why?
When he heard
Surprised and confused. He did not know.
Bayachi did not move. He's
he
not
heard
allowing.
the comments of Bujaba.
Very good, very good, very good.
He was
Nice.
surprised and confused, so he was attempted to knock.
Very good, very good. See, as Bayashi greeted him, simply greetings. So he scolded him, right? Like he spoke angrily. That is why, okay, Bujaba. So that is why Bayashi got angry. So he thought to do so, okay. And other question, the answer I'm displaying here, you see now. Why do you think Bujaba insisted? Okay, knowing exactly amount received. He might have thought to swindle. Swindle means cheat to take, okay? And the other question, what was Bayachi's dream that you said? To build a story house for his family, right? So children, without wasting time, let us go to the story house 2, the text, the passage. Open the page number 148, I think so, in your textbook.
141.
141, sir.
49? Okay, good.
141.
141, sir.
141 only. Oh. Story house 2, Nana. Text. The news that Bayachi was building a story house spread like a cry from the rooftops. There was only one storied house in the village and belonged to Kundiba Patil. That Bayachi, an untouchable creature, should think of a rival storied house was too much for Kundiba to bear. Others also murmured that the untouchables were forgetting their position. You just try to understand this text, Nana. Story house 2. Now he has turned to the next position, like the rival. As here, the issue has been highlighted in this story house 2, the passage. The issue has been created. Okay, so you can understand the text, Nana, in the lesson. I have given cry from the rooftops. Cry from the rooftops. It doesn't mean that shout from the rooftops. It's an idiom, unlike share some news or information, publicly. I mean, so that the news has been spread all over the village. There it is, isn't it? So, what was the news mentioned in the passage here? The news that Bayaji was building a story house, right? What was the news? The news of building a story house.
To build a story.
Yeah, the news of building a story house So that is spread all over the village. Okay. So how did the news spread? Cry from the how in the form of like it has compiled like cry from the rooftops. Okay, because it has with many people, one person, the other person, so it has shared it among these people in the village, and everyone received the news that Bayach is going to build a storied house, isn't it? Now here you see earlier only one person used to have a storied house. Who is that, Nana? Who has a storied house till now in the village?
Kondiba Patil.
Kondiba Patel. Only one person has a story house, so that he couldn't bear, he couldn't digest that Dalit like an untouchable, okay, is going to build a story house. So why a person has to feel like that, whereas the other person is trying to grow up, okay, he himself. What might be the reason here? That's what you have to think here. Okay, so already Kondiba Patel has built a story house. He's residing there itself, whereas the other person is trying to build, okay, he is unable to bear. Why? What might be the reason? That is an issue here. That is an issue. So that thought has created an issue. And even in the village, other peoples also, they murmured, they spoke to themselves in between, among them, that the untouchables were forgetting their positions. Right? So work on the foundation had started. Dattaram Vadar was given the contract of construction as a builder, and the foundation trenches were filled with mud, bits of stones, and other fillings. Work progressed with speed. One day, Bayaji saw Kondiba coming towards him and greeted him. It's with your blessings that I have ventured on this story house. Right, children? So when he has come towards him, he said like this last sentence, it is with your blessings that I have ventured on this story house. Ventured in the sense, took the risk of, I mean, he has taken the risk to build a story house with all your blessings. He just so simply, in a polite way, he just spoke to Kondiba Patel in the village, okay, who already has a story house in the village. Here the children, work on the foundation had started. In the beginning, when we try to build a story house, what the first work has to be done? We need to give the contract to someone who who have an habitual, whose work is constructing, right? So who has given the construction here? The contract for the construction.
Vistaram Vadu.
Dattaram was given a contract. That's good. Man. The foundation trenches were filled. Trenches? What do you mean by trenches? The ditches, Nana. I mean, see, when the foundation in the beginning, we call like basement, right? Before laying the basement, we just dig. Okay. So where the basement has to be laid. So that place is called as trenches. It doesn't mean that ditches. So they were filled with the mud, the stone, like okay, for as in the basement, whatever we include nowadays we call as it. So everything has done, and it was happened to meet Kondiba Patel one day. So that time, what happened? See the next page. Baiju, you shouldn't lose your head simply because you have set aside some money. Do you aspire to an equal status with us by building this story house? I mean, by building this house. The poor should remain content with their cottage. Understand? Kundiba remarked rather sharply. Because something is it's going on in his heart, like he's not bear, he's not able to bear that untouchable is going to build a story house. He spoke. It's like in a caution. It's like in a warning. It's like he's threatening indirectly Bayaji not to build a story house. He just remarked his position. What is Bayaji's position? Because he's come from the untouchable family. Okay. and it's just one like, by you shouldn't lose your head simply because you have set aside some money. It doesn't mean that. Do you feel that you are grown up as you have some money and earn some money? Do you want an equal position? Do you willing to be in an equal position, equal status? With whom? With them? With a person like he himself is comparing. Do you feel that you want to compare with us? Children, you just think here. Is it necessary to get angry, okay, towards an untouchable as he's earn his own money and going for building a story house? What was meant to be the reason here? What issue has been created? It's rising here that you should understand. When we should have a peaceful environment, when we want to be in a peaceful environment, that so how the people should be, they themselves, how they have to treat themselves, what kind of mind a person should have. So that has been raised here. He spoke angrily. Okay, next. See, children, sorry, I didn't display here. But you shouldn't lose your head simply because you have set aside some money. Do you aspire to an equal status with us by building this house? The poor should remain content with their cottage, content, happy. The poor, like you, Baiju, like you, the poor should be happy in their cottage, in their house, whatever they have right now. You should not feel that building a story house and to have an equal status with us. No. Understand? In that way, Kondiba Patel has warned Bayaji. That's what's about. He said, no, Patel, please don't misunderstand me. Bayaji was a little dizzy with nervousness. Look, children, he felt like a little frightened, okay, and he spoke very politely. What the reply, the way he gave the reply, see that how humble it is. No, but please don't misunderstand me. Now, how do you say that? One should keep to one's position. You shouldn't let a little money return your head. I only wish to build a shelter for my family. Then I shall be free to breathe my last, Bayashi answered. No, no, sir. See, that is in our current language. If you speak, no, sir, it's not like that. I just want to build a story house for my family. That's how humbly he has remarked. Okay, he has, like, no, replied towards Kundiba Patel's children. So this is very important that the way we speak, the language we use when we speak with others, it's very, very important. Right, children? And here, I just asked one question. What was Kondiba's suggestion, Kondiba Patel's suggestion to Bayaji here? What was his suggestion to Bayaji? What Kondiba Patel suggested Bayaji? How he suggested the poor should remain content with their cottage. This was a suggestion, and if you say in your own word, like, so he suggested to be, he himself, that Kondiba Patel suggested Bayaji that you have to be not to build a story house, and you should be happy in the convenient, like, whatever the portion house you have in that house, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So that is so simple. Then he gave a warning, isn't it? So what was a warning then? What was Kondiba's warning to Bayaji?
Do you aspire to an equal status with us by building these houses?
He has warned here. Let us see. I'll let you know. And the next, we'll come to the warning. I didn't mention here. I only wish to build a shelter for his family. For whom he want to wish? For his family.
For his
Right. Yeah. Breathe my last. So actually, we say that last my breathe, like breathe my last. It doesn't mean that I'll die. I just created shelter, a good shelter where they can feel convenient, live happily, all of my family members. Then I'll breathe my last. So how humbly he has responded. Who says you shouldn't have a house? You can have a small house with three convenient portions. A veranda in the front and at the back, and the living section in the middle. Why spend unnecessarily on a story house? Patel gave his counsel. That's what his suggestion. He suggested to have three convenient portions house. When he suggested these words, teacher's biology faltered a little. What do you mean by a falter?
Spoke in hesitating manner.
Hesitating manner that because he can't give answer as directly as he feel in the mind, because the people in the village like Patils are feeling so superior, right? He can't state out. So in a confusion like, okay, man, he said no, but Mahaji felt you may go in for a storied house only if you don't wish to stay in this house. You see, it's a warning. I hope you know that what I mean. Kundiba shot out as a warning and walked away. Other ruffians in the village threatened Bayaji in a similar manner. Everyone, the ruffians, who feel superior, okay, who just keep away the untouchables, who look them downwards like. So they also warn these people, as they do not, as they wish that these people should not, these Bayaji's family should not build a story house. See, now, you go in, like you may go in, you see that, what does it mean? You may proceed, you may continue for a storied house, but when you don't wish to stay in this village. See, indirectly has given warning, right? Not indirectly, directly he said, isn't it? Now? So he also mentioned that I hope you know what I mean. See how violently the behavior of the words of Kundiba Patel towards marriage. Understand, children? Out of fear, Bayaji had to abandon plans for the storied house. The conventional three-portion house was taken up, work was resumed, and the walls rose rapidly. The middle portion was a little elevated, and a small first story fixed up there with a wooden flooring. And this part could be reached by stairs rising from the kitchen, and no one could guess from outside that there was a first story to the house. Bayaji had to make the best of things. Children, as Bayaji was given warning, cautions, he was threatened with the village heads like Kundiba Patil and other fears that we have learned. He thought not to build a story house which can be seen outside. So he has started as conventional three-portion house, like earlier, how the portion house should be. In that way, he has started. But a little change he has done in the middle portion, okay, that elevating a little more, and a small first story fixed up there with a wooden flooring inside. Now it has become like duplex actually. So that he has done. But outside can't be seen that it's a story house. When you enter the house, you feel good. And the stairs to go up, the steps to go up to the first floor has rising from the kitchen. So this was has done. He has started building everything his plan. Okay, as he has planned in his mind, he's doing his best. The work is in progress. The house was complete, and the traditional housewarming ceremony was planned. The house was complete, and the traditional housewarming ceremony was planned. housewarming ceremony. You know that, everyone know that, right?
Yes, sir.
The celebration which can be done before and leaving the residing the house. So the celebration has been taken place, and the invitations were sent to the relatives in different villages. The village elders, by convention, could not be invited. You just keep in mind, they could not be, as for the convention, they could not be invited to a meal or refreshments. So they were invited to the ceremonial panswari. Bayachi put up a fine pandal in front of the house, and his sons worked hard for 2 full days on the decorations. Relatives started arriving, well-known devotional singers, and Kadegonka Bua, Parasu Bua, Kalekar Babu Master, Chicha Bua, and Hidoba of Wagon came with their troops. These are certain troops, individual, a group of, not to perform there, not to get their present in their performance. Okay, so troops, as a troop wise, they have come. Kodagakar Bua is one troop, and Parasu Bua, okay, and Kalekar Bapu Master, Jicha, and Wadgo. Different troops, as we have can see in the picture, like they have come. They're the main person, okay, individually they have come. And that this for this occasion, okay, for this occasion, the village elders were invited. So in the evening, 4 petromax lights were hung. Hang is the first one. Hung is the second one. Like, okay, I mean V2. The lights were hung in the 4 corners of the pandal. It lent a unique golden yellow light to the surroundings. Guests were engrossed in convention, in the conversation. Right, Anna? So you see here, this is the text I have done. Pandal, you see in the images, Nana. How the pandal, that is in the beginning. Okay, the entrance, that's a pandal. And trenches, you see some of the video, images I have just made here to understand. For the basement, trenches was taken, okay, they have digged trenches, Petromax light, hanging, they have to hung them, okay, in the corners, these Petromax lights. So in the evening, 4 Petromax lights were hung in the 4 corners of the pandal, and it lent a unique golden yellow light to the surroundings. Guests were engrossed in conversation. Kundiba Patil was soon there. With him was the thug Bujaba, and for our 5 seasoned rascals like Vidoba, Gayakute, and Parasmarthanda are the other people, other ruffians that we have learnt. So those along with Bujaba. So these people felt uneasy at the sight of the brand new house, the impressive pandal, and the crowd of smiling faces in the house of the Bayachi. So they were invited to Pan Supari, okay, after the meal which has been taken place, the ceremony of the housewarming ceremony. So that is called Pan Supari. For that they were invited. Everyone has come along with the village elders. And as we learned that, okay, the third Bujab, with him there was a third nun. Third means
Crow.
crowd nun, like thieves. Okay, with him was a thug, Bujaba, and 4 or 5 seasoned rascals. Like we have taken place. These are people who are called as thug. Actually, in generally, what doesn't mean that cheaters, like thieves, who will create harm, who will hurt others. Okay, with the words or something, creating nuisance there. So these people also have reached the place, and there in the housewarming ceremony, you can feel wherever the celebration has taken place, everyone seems to be smiling, right? With happy faces. There's a good crowd. Everything is to be impressed. So that is the situation there. Okay, all over the place in the Bayachi's house. And their heights rode all over the place. Bayachi led them up and stairs in the kitchen. So the first floor looked like a drawing room. The walls were radiant with a blue oil paint. The fresh color gave out a pleasant smell. Framed pictures of great men like Lord Buddha, Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, and Karmaveer Bahurao Patil, Mahatma Jyotirao Phule, Mahatma Jyotiba Phule, and others hung on the walls. There are photos, right? Okay, these are photos have, so these great people have been hung to the walls, and the loft like first floor was filled with pious and holy ambience. As they have entered into the room, the village elders, the Bayashi led them. The Bayashi has taken these village elders and asked them to see all over the house. They were observing, they were surprised by looking everything. As you know, children, when the house has been built newly and colored, and it smells something differently, right? So that is called a pleasant smell because the colors and the wall and everything, the clay, whatever it used, everything smells. And whatever the colors he has used, and with an oil paint and the photos, and see by looking all around the house, everything seems to be impressive. Everything is impressive today. And these people have observed. Bayach spread a rough woolen carpet for Patil and the other high caste people who has come to the housewarming ceremony from the village. And Patil sat quietly on that, and his companions, rather uncomfortable, took their positions around him. Bayachi offered them the customary betel leaves. You know betel leaves, right? And Patil accepted the leaves, but immediately gave it back to Bayachi with the remark, "Yes, it's all very nice. See, whatever he has offered, the betel leaves, okay, in order to chew, right? There itself, he has taken it and gave back to him. That's good. Thank you." Okay. This was the conversation has been taken in between Bayashi and the village elders who has come for the housewarming ceremony. And after that, "But why don't you accept the bitter leaves?" As he returned back, Bayashi asked nervously. Because when he offers something, if others take with a happy, pleasant smile, that creates a certain happiness. Okay. And Bhushab liked accepting everything. As they have rejected, he felt a little nervous. And Bhushaba smiled artificially, and said, "It's enough that your offering is honored. Is it also necessary to eat?" Well, we will make a move now. With this, Kundiba Patil, Bhuchaba, and his companions rose to leave. They have stood to go out. As they came down from the story house now. Bhuchaba felt as if he were tumbling down the stairs. As he's getting down, okay, coming down from the first floor, like wooden floor, they have built it, right? So there, while he's coming down, he just fell to, okay, a fall, just tumble a little, and they eyed one another as if to say, "This untouchable worm has got a swollen head. He needs a proper handling." They eyed one another. Who are they here mentioned? Whom the word they refers? Children. The word they refers whom?
Kundiba Patel, Pujaba,
Bujaba.
and
Very
his
good.
companion.
Very good. The village elders, Bujaba and Kundiba Patel and his companions. Everyone, they looked at each other. They eyed one another. See that? They looked at each other like, as they didn't speak out, but the expressions of those persons has conveyed that this untouchable worm has got a swollen head. He needs a proper handling. They were not digesting. They couldn't bear after after seeing the house of Bayachi. So they were thinking in a negative way. Bayachi fed all his guests. Feed, second form, fed. So Bayachi fed all his guests with a meal of shira and puris, along with betel nuts. Items of gossip roll over their tongues, and then the session of these social devotional songs began. Everyone who has come to the housewarming ceremony, they had their meal and took the bitter leaves and as usual, okay, and by chewing like everything, eating, happily they are ready to watch the devotional songs in it, okay, which we have begun by these Karegonkar Bua and Parasubua, other masters, okay, Chija. Some troops have come to entertain me, so they have started listening. Among the bhajan singers, Kalekar Bapu Master has a superior voice. Karegonkar Bua was better at classical singing. Devotional songs were sung in the praise of Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar and Lord Buddha. People swayed their heads in appreciation as the program gathered momentum. There was a good excitement. Everyone is very happy. And the program also, which was arranged by Bayaji, also very impressive. Okay, it's very awesome. The people were very happy. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. I mean to say that 2 p.m. 2 a.m. Sorry, 2 a.m. after midnight. So Bayaji was strutting about in the panel, and he sat down by a guest now and then to inquire after his welfare, because he has to look after everything as he's the head of the family. And small children, unable to resist to sleep because they couldn't control, had dropped off like bundles of rags. We have learned like rags, the clothes, okay, waste cloth or used cloth, which was dropped here and there. Like that, the children were sleeping here and there in the inside of the house. And the woman sat in the front of the veranda. Okay, and Bayaji's children were busy preparing tea for a second round. You see, everyone in their own work, so happy the program was going on. They had put tea powder and sugar into a pot on a trenched the stove and waited for the water to boil, because they're ready, they're making the tea there inside. Okay, and the bhajan was in full swing. Bhajan, the program which has been taken place by these great masters, classical troops. Okay, it is in swing, good movement. And I had a dream at night, and my heart was full of a feeling. Went the line. Bahaji's feelings. He's very happy by looking everything which is happening, which is going on in front of his eyes. Feeling very happy. So this was the moment, Nana, that time, okay, at midnight, like at 2 o'clock, 2 a.m. And after that, the group advanced from baseless devotions. Like from the east came the horde of ghosts, each one with 7 heads, to social devotionals. These are the words in the program. Speaking out, Kalagakar Bapu Master's powerful voice rose up. Take to heart the sweet advice of Bhimaraya and bow down to Buddha for the emancipation of the old world. Bow down, salute, namaskar, in the form of respect. This was a small incident has been narrated by the troop, and also saying, and also the words, I fly to the refuge of Lord Buddha. I fly to the refuge of the faith. I fly to the refuge of the faithful. The song rent the air, filling it with joy. And then the undreamed of incident took place. Someone is speaking? Someone is speaking, Anna? Okay, I have to give in that the whole meaning, emancipation, the freeing of someone from slavery, because they were freed. For everything that Buddha is there. And the refuge, the place or the situation provided safety at the shelter. Here, that's nothing but the refuge means shelter, which is provided. I fly to the place of Lord Buddha. I fly to the place of the faith, like a beautiful manner. Okay, with a beautiful voice, the high voice, powerful voice, collecting the Bapu Masters performance has been taken place there. That time, That time, an undreamed of incident took place, which is not dreamed, which is not implied. Unexpected incident has been taken place. See in the picture now, what's the incident? Bayachi's new house had caught fire from all sides. It had suddenly flared up. The women folk in the front veranda screamed in confusion. The guests stood up swiftly and began to pull out the woman like a head of cattle. Head of cattle. A group. A group of cattle is called head of cattle. As we'll make them everything out, is in a danger, it has been taken the incident. See in the picture. And that time, Bayaji was frantic. He felt in distraught. He was in distraught with the fear and anxiety. All of a sudden, it has been taken. He doesn't know what's happening there. He ran around crying, "My house, my storied house, it is on fire. My enemy has taken revenge on me." He entered the roaring flames, crying, "My house, my house." He climbed up, pulled the pictures of Buddha and Baba Saheb Ambedkar from the walls and hurl means throw them very forcefully outside, throw down. And as he was about to come down the stairs, it crumbled. It crumbled down in flames in the fire. And people pull up water from the nearby places, the well, and to put out the dreadful fire, but it could not be easily controlled. Bayaji jumped down. "Quick, jump!" People shouted because he was trapped inside the house. And women and children were crying and screaming, everyone. Now that the staircase had collapsed, where Bayashi is getting down, no one could go up. Scorched in the flames, that is burned in the flames, scorched in the flames, Bayachi ran around like a trapped creature. When you trap the creature, how they move, you have to escape from that, you have to, to be safer from that. It was also, howling all the time, waving, crying with a deep voice, with a deep tone. He's continuously crying and rolling around inside the house. "My house, my house." See, children, you can feel the pain of Bayaji. Of 35 years he worked, being far away from the family, and earned a certain amount. Came back. Even he didn't bring anything for the children. The children were waiting actually when he came back from the long period, after from the long place, after working long period. The daughters also, grown-up daughters who has children already, I also asked that, "Daddy, didn't you bring anything, Nana?" He said that we will bring a house for them. So that dream has burnt in the flames. Everything was blamed along with Bayashi. You just feel the pain, understand the pain. And then the upper story itself came down with a crash, and along with it, Bayashi, he also there, right? He also come down with a resounding third. People pulled him out. The third, you see the meaning I have given there. The sound that made by an object falling to the ground. So if a heavy object falls from the force the downwards, then you listen such a sound. Bajan along with all the upper story has collapsed, has come down, and that sound has come out, has been made. Bayashi, the people pulled the Bayashi out. Bayashi was burnt all over. Completely he was burnt. He was wailing, crying, putting out his pain. My house, my house. Bayashi's children encircled him, around him and cried their hearts out. All the children, all 8 children there, along with the grandchildren. The guests were busy putting out the fire. All Bayachi's hopes had been reduced to ashes. And that was the use of putting. That was the use of putting out the fire now. See, if you control the fire, what happened? Almost everything, entire house was burnt. Bayachi was badly burnt and he was in great agony. Agony, you say, Nana, meaning extreme physical and mental suffering that physically he's feeling completely was burnt and mental his dream that was burnt. And he asked for water all the time. Okay, situation before die. As his eyes began to roll in his head, his eldest son moved closer, gulped down the sorrow, which is controlling the sorrow. Okay, and that was surging in his throat, and asked, "What, Nana? What's your last wish?" He knows that everyone knows that he can't. He's no more. He's going to be no more. Okay, so this was the situation, Nana. But just a second. Let me check that still how many. Still we have a little more text. Let me complete it. Okay. No, let us complete it tomorrow, Nana. It's okay because right, children. This was the incident that has been taken unexpectedly, okay, and dream incidents that took place that we have learned. So after that, what happened and what Bayashi, how what the conversation is going to be taken in between Bayashi and his elder son. Okay, and with a few more comprehension questions and a little grammatical, okay, expressions. We'll be come back again tomorrow to learn this, right, children? So hope that you are understanding everything from point to point from this passage. So why I'm trying to explain you that if you know the word, how the word has been constructed here, now to explain the incident, the narration, okay, so that you're clear to understand. So when we read an incident, we should imagine, we should visualize the incident and then go on understanding. It is very clear to us. Okay, and I'll be come back to you with a few questions of the vocabulary and especially an vocabulary tomorrow in the class, and we'll complete the lesson. Okay, children.
Okay, sir.